What's good, everybody? I hope you're having a great day. My name is Solomon Riddell, and in today's video, we're going to be covering the top 10 Ponziani opening traps. If you haven't heard of the Ponziani opening before, it's a very underrated, very sound option for white. The trickiest opening in chess that I can think of, and it starts with us as white playing the move of e4, and against e5 we play knight f3. So far we're playing normally, no surprises yet, but now instead of going with a move like d4 or bishop c4 or bishop b5 or knight to c3, we're playing the move of c3. Very rare option that we don't see a lot of players doing, but this has been played with success at the grandmaster level. And by playing c3, we're not playing d4 right away, but we're looking to support that d4 pawn push. And against a bunch of different moves here, we're going to play d4. Not always, but against a bunch. Now, if you're interested in my online course, over 4 hours of content on the Ponziani opening, I'm giving out a 30% off discount code until the end of this month. That discount code, you can go down to the description below or the pinned comment, click the link, plug in the discount code CHESS25, CHESS25, and you will receive 30% off on your purchase, whether you get the Ponziani or any of my other courses. You can get 1, 2, 3, 4, all 5 courses for 30% off. Now, playing from the white side here, what is the first trap we're going to be looking at? It's against the move of bishop to c5. And overall, bishop c5 is just not a great move. It's just not, because that runs right into our plan. Pawn to d4. Even though we've seen this a bunch in online chess, doesn't mean it's good. We play d4, we're kicking that bishop around, and in this position, black really should take and then throw in a check. Of course, at that point, they've already moved their bishop twice. But if we see this move bishop to b6, you could argue we're already winning here. We play d5. If you move your knight, which, I mean, you probably want to save your knight on c6, we're able to capture on e5. We're already up a pawn. Black has nothing to show for it except no space and no central e-pawn. If we see something like pawn to d6 here, what are we doing? Well, we're going with bishop b5 with check. And the best thing that black could do now is simply move that king over to f8. That's the best thing they got. If you play a move like bishop to d7, we capture off that bishop. If you play c6, we can take the pawn. And sure, you can take our knight. In that case, c7 with check is winning. Even better, though, is c takes b7 with check. And, yeah, I mean, you're in check. We're looking to promote and capture the rook while making a second queen. We're in a good spot. Stepping back to c3 for our number 2 trap. And our number 3, we're looking at this move of d6. And both of these traps have the same idea, okay? We're playing d4 here, right? Against bishop c5, what do we do? d4. Against d6, what do we do? d4. And if we see this move knight to f6, we can actually play bishop to b5, looking to pin that knight. Now, a lot of players here as black might think, you know what? I'm going to take on e4. And then if d5, I'm going to play a6. And generally speaking, this is an idea that we see in a lot of opening theory, a lot of opening ideas. Here's the whole plan for black. From the black perspective, it's like, okay, my knight is pinned. But if you take my knight, I take your bishop. If the bishop runs, I attack the bishop again. And the whole idea here is that if the bishop moves, the knight moves. If you take my knight, I take your bishop. That's the idea for black there. However, because black took on e4, this doesn't work. This doesn't work at all because of bishop to c2. Our bishop ran, and now it's attacking a hanging knight. So you have a hanging knight and a hanging knight. You can't save both. You can't do it. And you might as well get something here, right? Get some material back. Knight takes f2. We capture back with the king. We're now up a piece for 2 pawns. Great development. Great activity towards the king side. Goodness. And we're on our way to winning this game. Okay, I think from this point, you could look towards rook f1 or rook e1, and then king g1. Slow castle there, you're in a good spot. You are on a very long open diagonal, but how's black going to get there? Their bishop on f8 is absolutely stuck. And in order for the queen to advance, this pawn has to push, which gives us en passant opportunities and all different kinds of stuff. So, not to mention that we could put a bishop on e3 ourselves. So we have a very sound position here. Even though our king is on f2, we're up material, we're up development, we're in the driver's seat. Stepping back to bishop b5. For our third trap, we have the move of e takes d4, and then knight takes. But we have the same idea here. d5, look, if you don't want to play a6, I'm just going to take your knight. I'm going to snatch that guy right off. If you do play a6, I bring my bishop back. Again, you want to make a little move or something? Cool. I'll take your knight. If you play b5, I'm not taking your knight right now. I'm moving my bishop. I don't want to take a knight and lose my bishop. I want to save my bishop, and now you got to drop one of these. And, you know, same kind of idea. If we see knight takes f2, you can calmly capture back. If queen e7, don't take the knight on c6. That'd be a bad idea, because in that case, you run into knight c3 with check against your king, and you are going to lose your queen in that position. So be careful about that. In this case here, you can just castle. Okay, you want to move this knight? Thanks for the knight on c6. You move the knight on c6 somewhere. You could play rook e1, or my personal favorite, just taking the knight. Black can't take back unless they want to get their queen pinned to their king there. So that ain't going to work for them. Stepping back to c3. For our fourth trap, it's against the move d5. Now, this is one of those rare moments where we're not playing d4 here. We're not going with that. Instead, we're going with the move of queen a4. I talk about this in the course. If d5, and also on a lot of other videos on this channel, if d5, queen a4. Okay, now if black wants to take on e4, right, that's not what they should do. What black should do is f6. If you see the move f6, your opponent has probably prepped for the Ponziani. But yeah, if you do see d takes e4, all right, knight takes e5. I mean, we're at even material. This knight is pinned, and we're attacking the pawn on e4. Let's say black goes, you know what? I'm not just going to defend my knight. I'm not just going to defend this pawn. I'm going to try to guard both. Let's take on c6. If the queen wants to take, we're pinning that queen. If the pawn takes, we have bishop c4, and now this idea of d3. Very strange, right? Giving up a pawn, but we're now castling quickly, and we are able to win this pawn back. Okay, this pawn, it is passed, but it's not going nowhere because of the bishop and the knight looking at that d2 spot. There are multiple ways for us to pick this off in the future, including potentially just taking it with the bishop, because right now the queen is the only defender for c6. It depends obviously on what black does here, but if we see the move knight f6, we're playing bishop to f4. Notice, we didn't play bishop f4 right now. We waited until the knight came to f6, then we played it, and if black takes us, we throw in a check. The reason we wait for this move is so that the queen can't just take the bishop, right? We don't want to give up one bishop and then give up another one. But in this case, queens cannot jump. The king captures back. There you go. We have a queen. They don't. For our fifth trap, we have this move knight to f6, in which case we play d4. And if black goes, hey, there's a hanging pawn on e4, I'm going to take it. We're actually not taking this pawn on e5. We're playing the move of d5. And this is the most trappy position in all of the Ponziani. So many fun lines form here. If we see the move of knight to e7, we can actually capture on e5. I've gotten this position with d6 multiple times. We're going to take a look at that in just a moment. And if you see the move d6, I've been getting this against plenty of 2,000 plus rated players, 2,200 plus rated players. And if you do see d6, as we're going to see, we throw in a check. We are winning that position, hands down. What should black do? Well, the move knight g6 is a good option. And here, you have a couple of different moves that you can go with. One of them is just taking the knight and then continuing to develop. Another one is playing bishop to d3, and this isn't the best move, according to the engine. I talk about this on the course. This isn't the best move. What black should do is go, you know what, I'm going to take the knight, and then we take theirs. That's what black should do. But what black will sometimes do, especially at higher levels, I would say, I had someone do this against me. This entire line I have gotten in online chess. My opponent here went, you know what, I'm going to get something for my knight first and then take on e5. Generally speaking, that's a great idea. And if we do take here, we're just dead lost. Black can throw in a check. Black could take on e5. This is atrocious. But what are we going to do here? Bishop takes g6. This move was a blunder. It's usually a good idea to try to get something for the knight, but in this case, we're not taking your knight back. We're playing bishop takes g6. If you want to capture our bishop, we take your knight. We're up a piece for a pawn. And if you capture our queen, which is what my opponent did, we take here, forced. We check, forced. We check, forced. We play knight ba3. Now this move isn't forced. Finally, black can think. The king was lured all the way out to c5. Here we are threatening b4 with checkmate. If you stop the checkmate, we say thank you for the queen, and we're up 3 points of material, and your knight on d1 is trapped. But my opponent ended up taking on g5. Very high-rated player. I play b4. That game is over. So that right there, that's a crazy trap. I was happy to, I knew about it for a long time. I was happy to finally get it in online chess. But again, with this move of pawn to c3, right? If you see knight to f6, play d4. If they take, push the pawn. The whole idea is that when this knight moves, which actually the main line is bishop to c5, but when this knight moves, take the pawn. Now we're at even material. You got a pawn, I got a pawn, we're good. And this move d6 is very common. I see it all the time. What do we do here? Well, as mentioned earlier, this is just losing. That's a terrible move for the black side. I mean, let's just put a blunder on that. That's just bad, right? If we do see it, we can throw in a check. And if the bishop wants to block, we can take. You're going to have to give up your queen. If you play the move of c6, we can capture. We can take that. And, I mean, look, if you want to take on c6, we can capture back. If you want to capture our knight, what do we do here? C takes b7 with check. And there are so many moves here that are winning. Taking here is winning. Capturing on d7 with the bishop is winning. But the engine move is actually queen takes d7, giving up the queen for a bishop, but watch what happens now. We take on a8 and promote into a queen. If you're capturing a rook and you're promoting your pawn into a queen, talk about a material shift there. I mean, that's incredible. The last move, we were down 7 points. The next move, we're down 7 points. We make a move, we're up 6. That's a huge swing. 13-point swing there for us. But in this position, black can't block with the queen. Their king can't run. They have to give up their knight. Notice that's forced. Again, going back, we take the rook. That's forced. That's forced. We take the knight. That's forced. We take the queen. That's forced. We're up 18 points, y'all. Goodness. With d takes e6, there's another trap that follows queen to b6. Now, I haven't gotten this one yet, but this is my favorite trap in all the Ponziani. It's just fun. It's just a really fun line. We do got to be careful, though. Okay, now we're going to take on b7 with check. And if you want to take our bishop, we can take the rook. But if you move your king, we ain't taking that rook. Why is this? Well, if you take the rook here, you get checkmated. But if the queen was on b5, yeah, I mean, the queen's not able to go over to f2. But we do got to be very careful about this queen takes f2 idea. So what do we play now? Well, let's throw in a check. Black is in check. They can't checkmate us. You got to move your king. And this is a position that I've given many private students white to play. How do you maximize your advantage? Again, there's a lot of moves that are winning here. I mean, we're already up 3 points in material. You could take the bishop with check. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you could do here that gives you a winning position. A lot of moves. Even queen takes d6 here, according to the engine, is winning. But the best move that we have is taking the rook, not turning into a queen. Very, very common mistake there for players that first see this, because then we get checkmated. We're turning into a knight. Capture the rook, turn into a knight. You are forking the king and the queen. You're going to capture that queen off. If they take back, we take the rook. We're up 21 points in material. 21 points. Stepping back to d5. Again, this is a trappy position. There is so much stuff that we could see here. For our 8th trap, black going with knight to b8. What do we do here? Well, you moved your knight. Okay, we'll take on e5. We're good. And if bishop c5 here, we can go with queen to g4. Very sharp line. Crazy line here. We're attacking the knight. We're attacking the pawn on g7. Taking on f2 with the bishop here just doesn't make sense, because then we move our king. The knight's hanging. If the knight runs, thanks for the bishop. I mean, black's position is way overextended. Everything's barely hanging on, and the building is going to crumble. So, by the way, crumble cookies kind of sound good right now, but okay. With queen to g4, we're attacking the pawn. We're attacking the knight. If the knight takes on f2, we capture that pawn. And, I mean, you got to move the rook, right? What are you doing? If you don't move this rook, we're just going to take your rook. So, unless you play king e7, but that's ugly. And if you do move your rook, we can calmly play bishop to e2. Very fun line here. Just move the bishop. Go, you know what? Take my rook. I don't care. And yeah, I mean, chess.com gives this move a brilliant, which I recently made a video on why brilliants don't matter. But when you do get them, they're fun. You play that move bishop to e2, going, you know what? Take my rook. I don't care about my rook. Why would I want my rook? And if black takes, bishop g5, we're winning. Now, if you block, I mean, you don't want to lose your queen, right? If you block the bishop, we throw in a check. You only got one move. This game's over. I mean, that's it. If you play bishop to e7, we can actually go with knight takes f7 here. We have a mate in 6 from this point when we capture with the knight. I mean, just a brilliant idea. If the bishop wants to take on g5, here you have a mate in 3. If you want to, you can pause the video and try to figure out where the mate in 3 is. This is a forced mate in 3. Okay. Now, assuming that you pause the video and you try to figure it out, taking the queen, this is winning. Okay. You got to either take the queen or you got to find the mate in 3. If you don't find one of those, you're losing here. But we are winning. We're going to throw in a check with our knight. Black has to take. That opens up the short side diagonal against the king. We're down 10 points, but who cares? Because after rook f7, we take the rook. That's it. With knight takes f7, if we see the rook capture back, well, let's pin the rook. I mean, ain't nobody helping that rook out. That rook is on its own. If black wants to survive for as long as they can, we'll see the move d6, but at that point, we'll take. We'll play queen to e6. This game is over. Returning to this d5 spot, as we've seen, there are so many ways for black to fall into trouble here. There are traps against knight e7. There are traps against knight to b8. There are so many trappy lines. What about this move of bishop to c5? This is our 9th trap. Now, this is the Vucovic Gambit. This is actually the best move that black has there. Best move. Now, if you're a beginner player, I doubt you're going to see it all that much. If you're 1800, 1900, 2000 plus, you'll probably see it more often. But even then, in my online games, I barely see it compared to a lot of other stuff. But if we do see this move, you're actually just going to take the knight. And this is a line for you guys to memorize. Okay, now there's a lot of stuff that can happen here. Very long explanation for this, but knight takes f2, not the best idea for black because we have queen to d5. And there are lines there where black can take our rook, but then their knight's trapped. So the goal there is to get some material, win the knight in the corner, capture that guy, and we have a 1 game if black is not careful. So that is something that we're looking at. What should black do? Take with the bishop. And then at this point, there's only one move for them that gives them a slight advantage, and that's bishop to b6. Even then, we can play queen to d5. We have a playable game if we know what we're doing. I cover this in depth in the course. However, let's just say black studied up to this point and they go, yeah, I'm going to take the pawn. Here's the problem. Your bishop on f2 is only defended by the knight. Let's attack the knight. You want to run away with the knight? I mean, if you play knight c5, queen to g4, we're now attacking the g7 pawn, and we're attacking your bishop on f2. If you play f5 defending it, notice how d5 is just a bad idea because of queen takes c6. If we see f5, we can now play knight bd2. You want to move your bishop? Cool. We have 2 attacking pieces on that knight. Our knight on d2 and our queen. 1 and 2. Boom. We're going to be out material. If you capture our knight, we take back with our bishop. Even with bishop to c5 here, which is what black should do, we take the pawn here. We're up a pawn, and we actually have an over +3 advantage according to the engine. This is winning no matter what black does. But if black plays bishop to b6, well, we could take this and still be winning, but the best thing we have is bishop to g5. This bishop can't come to e7. That queen is trapped. And finally, stepping back to c3, our 10th and final trap, we have the move of pawn to f5. This is the Ponziani Countergambit. Very interesting line. And in this position here, you have a couple of different options. You can play d4, or you could end up capturing the pawn. And taking the pawn on f5 can actually lead to a lot of fun positions. If you see the move e4, we can play knight to d4. And black here might go, you know what? I'm going to take the knight. I'm going to mess up your pawn structure. I'm going to play from here. Here's the problem, though. When we moved our knight, well, it's a problem for them, not for us. Their short side diagonal is very weak. You know, we throw in a check. We're good. If you want to play king to e7, we take your knight. We have a much better position there. You have a king on e7. And we're up a pawn. If you play g6, that's even worse for black because we can capture that guy. And, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can happen here. If you take our pawn, we're taking your rook. If you play bishop g7, we're taking on h7 with check. If you play knight c2 and then take on a1, here we have a mate in 3. We play g7, king e7 is forced. Queen e5, king f7 is forced. And finally, our third move here, right? Again, we had a mate in 3 following this move here. 1, 2, and 3. This game's over. We just won the game at move 11. Hope you enjoyed this video on the Ponziani. Again, if you're interested in my Ponziani course or any of my other online courses, you can plug in the discount code CHESS25 and you will get 30% off. Only good until the end of this month. Thanks. Let me know what you thought of these traps down below. Let me know how often you've seen them. Some of these you may never get in your life. Like this trap right here. I don't know if I'll ever get this, but there are other traps where you will get them. You will get these positions, right? For example, going back to C3, right? Going back to this position here. I get this all the time. I get my opponents taking the hanging pawn. Boom. I play knight e5. If my opponents play d6, I'm over +3, over +4 for the white side with bishop to b5 with check. I'm winning this, right? And I've even got that trap with knight to g6, in which case I play here. And this is a trap where you might get this more against higher rated players, right? Because your higher rated opponent might actually go, oh, okay, let me get something for this knight, and then take, right? And then take the knight on e5. But of course, we know we're not doing that. And this is a trap that I have gotten in my own games, in one of my games at this point. So very fun line for the white side. So many fun tricks and traps. Let me know what you think of the Ponziani opening down below. Of course, by playing the move of e4, there's a lot of different stuff that you could see, and a lot of this channel is dedicated towards helping you e4 players and you non-e4 players with your chess opening theory and helping you figure out what you like the most. What I would say is, hey, if you do play e4 and you face e5 a lot, try it out. Try out the Ponziani. Let me know how it goes. See you in the next video. To finish out, I wanted to give a big shout out to my Patreon community, specifically Walter, Rob, Steve, Rob, Ray, and Roger, and the rest of my Patreon community. Thank you guys for your support. If you haven't checked out the Patreon already, there are some exclusive benefits that you gain by becoming a member. I look forward to seeing you over there, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.